Welcome to All Master Podcast with episode 198 or something, isn't it? 99. Holy shit. 199 with Paul and Barry and Chris.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you in London, Chris?
Yes, I'm sitting in my office pretending to work.
Excellent.
The big,
What I do most
big
days.
smelly orange, we should call it. The big smelly orange.
No, I'm doing all the things that I went to university to do, which is that paperwork, basically. Not teeth, paperwork.
Yeah.
Joys
You
of
need
having
to
a
get some of
practice.
that AI or that Doge stuff involved, just with the chainsaw of justice. Just cut all that paperwork out, Chris.
If you want paperwork done well, a human needs to do it.
Yeah.
But that's
AI will give you like a mishmash of what it kind of should be, and then you spend longer checking it. So it has its place, don't get me wrong, but just, working out, people's pay and holidays and stuff, it's not quite so smart.
It's inevitable.
no, and you do need to do that properly. Human resources are important.
Mhm.
Right, so we're going to talk about the changes today.
I think this is our biggest episode of the year, isn't it? It should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but there's a little bit of a leak. So I mean, it is. It's not like...
But it's gone out today on the website.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, that's why I shared it with you guys. So it is now live. You can see this on the War Master Revolution website. And it has a change log, and that's probably which we're going to go through. Yeah.
And realistically, even though the votes are done by the end of March, it takes a little bit of time to put this together. I mean, Chris does have a day job. You can see him doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just integrating it with the previous document and making sure that all the stuff's properly cross-referenced. It does take a little bit of time. So inevitably, we're probably going to spot some mistakes in here, which I'll try and correct on the go. But shall I screen share? Yeah, that one.
That's good.
There it is. Perfect.
Right. Okay. So if you download this, these designations of approved, experimental, and conceptual, these are basically used outside of the committee. These are used on the experimental forum. And basically the stuff the committee votes on, it's either approved or it's something different. But certainly if you're on the experimental forum, one of the common questions we always get after this episode is, how do I get whatever it is that idea you have in your head? How do we get it as part of the game? And the answer is go on the experimental forum and discuss it.
Yep.
So we've got a few changes that affect several armies, which are actually fairly straightforward. One was about the large monsters and the large things that fit on a 40 by 60 base. So that affects the Stegodon, the North Mammoth, the Bretonnian Trebuchet, and also the changes we voted this year for the Skaven Screaming Bell. And it basically is a standardized wording, because why would you not have standardized wording?
This is clarification.
Yeah.
Although, to be perfectly honest, if it's a 4 by 6 base with the short edge facing it, how you could get that wrong, I really don't know.
But as you can see, like we on this change log, it has the votes, and there's 20 votes on the committee, and this one passed 20-0. So it's like a unanimously simple thing.
Well, it's 21 on the committee.
Oh, okay.
We lost one. So due to inactivity, if anybody's interested. So the one here, it says 40 by 60, and then we put 4 by 6 just to mix things up.
Oh yeah.
Don't know why everything's in millimeters, but then we decided to just kind of like times it by 10.
Times it by 10. Yeah.
So that's all the same. I mean, we don't measure in 4 by 6 anywhere.
It's 2 bits.
We don't measure a base 2 by 4.
That's fine.
Anyway, moving on.
Move on.
Move along.
Yeah.
Move along. There's all, but when you try and kind of standardize stuff, you always end up like doing things accidentally to make them less standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the nature of English. Right.
Okay. So
we
next
got
thing, Giant goes wild.
Yep. So Giant is across quite a lot of armies: Albion, Dogs of War, Goblins, Ogre Kingdoms, and Orcs and Goblins. This passed as well unanimously, 20-0. And it is just it's not changing how this mechanics work. It's just clarifying how these mechanics work.
Well, it talked about moving as if charging,
Yeah.
and now it just talks about charging.
Yeah, it's just clearing up the English. Yeah.
If you're moving as if charging,
You are charging.
Yeah.
Like there's no as if. Yeah.
So So yes, there's quite a few bits here, but it's all around the similar thing.
Yeah, and but it's in terms of if you played a giant before, it is the same chart. It's just better written and taking out some of the stuff that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, and particularly the result number 3 with the giant was throwing an object. That was fairly badly worded. So yeah, I think just makes it clear, nice and simple.
Okay.
So pass over so if you're reading this document for the first time, some of the stuff that we've voted on in previous years is in pale grey, so that you can see where things have been changed. Also for us to help see where we voted on stuff.
So what happens if something's been voted on and then it was one of those rare occasions where it was retracted? Is it still in?
You'll see some stuff in strike through, actually. So it remains in the document, but we just put lines through it if it was overturned or got rid of by a subsequent vote.
Okay.
And it says, in strike through text, you can see it there.
There you go, it's written there.
Perfect.
So Albion the only change that gets is the giant goes wild clarification, which we've just spoke about. So mechanically the same. Araby gets no changes for 2025. Beastman, we have refinements to the Beastman ambush mechanic. So this passed 17-3, so a strong pass. And rationale, the rule was written not entirely clear as part of it has become redundant due to changes made in 2024. So we now have a better written ambush mechanic for the Beastman army.
Okay. This is helpful. I mean, the changes to the ambush mechanic for this army are fairly significant because it is one of the, if you like, signature moves for the Beastman army. This is not an army that I play. Have either of you played against this army or with this army?
Before and played against it, but yeah, it's like it is. Why do you play Beastmen? It is to do something with ambush. That is, it's their thing they can do. And what this is clarifying is, as you can see in the red text there, is on the third paragraph is the nominated point is in dense terrain. It must be chosen that every stand of every unit within that group must be at least partially within the terrain. So you don't have a weird situation where you have one stand tagging the terrain and the rest of the unit outside of it.
It was more that you could have a tiny piece of terrain and a whole brigade.
And brigade just
spawned out.
Yeah, like the world supply of Beastmen, which didn't seem proportional to the scenery. So yeah, this quite elegantly means it's like, okay, so it's it makes sense basically, and I would have said it makes the rule play as intended and play like really players as many players would do.
Well, maybe you can't fit as much in an ambush as you wanted, so you have to kind of tailor it to the piece of terrain.
As I say, if you like events I'd run, I tried to standardize the scenery, but obviously unless you owned all the scenery for all the tables you were playing on an event, it's never going to be completely standardized. So you do have a bit of adjustment. But I guess that's the grey area of Beastman, is you don't know the table that you're going to play on. That's part of what it is.
So it's closing off something that potentially could be exploited in a rather unrealistic way.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and also it's one of those things that gamey people will lean into.
Yeah, of course,
if you allow them to lean into it too much, it can be the thing that wins the game.
Exactly, and it was also the thing that then gets noticed, and hence why the change of this has been voted on and done. Yeah, it's because I don't think I'd not seen
other things haven't got this change. The gutter runners and that kind of.
But they have a different mechanic.
Is it like
infiltrate is different.
I've never seen someone do a literal thing where this tiny bit of scenery and a brigade of beastmen exploded out of it that physically was way bigger than the scenery.
But you didn't have to be.
No, as I'm saying, I've never seen someone. I can't recall a game where I would have considered to do that, or someone did that to me. But it's right that it's like this is why we've. This is why
it only came up because somebody was doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't someone that was not someone I'd known.
No. I don't think it was a. I don't think it was a local player.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like that's the thing. It's like ultimately, if you rear your head and make something like you're pushing something that is not expected or is not intended, that's how you get noticed, isn't it? It's not cheating, but it's like if you are like, oh, hang on, nothing's in the rules saying I can't do this. Well, that's how you get it noticed.
Well, that's how you get it. Yeah. Yeah. That's
normal. Good to see. I mean, generally, I think we've seen more Beastman armies over the last probably 2 years, more or less. We've put a lot of work
with Rangers, for Beastmen existing. Like the lovely 3D printed Rangers.
Yeah. But it used to be you just had your whatever the good ones were.
Eureka.
Taurus.
Yeah.
Yeah, those four, and then
Vestigors, yeah, Eureka
some
mods.
ambushy stuff, and then the rest was kind of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they have improved.
No.
But yeah, you've always got to be careful with armies that do something completely alien to every other army. So that's normally the pinch point. That's normally the point.
Yeah, yeah. And
we
say we always want to. As a general, we're trying to mitigate down rather than power up.
Yeah. No, it's nice. I mean, and again, if we look at some of the things that have changed in the past, a lot of the work here done by Ian Standing over the last few years to make this into an army that actually worked, because we've had a few goes at getting beastmen right.
So Bretonnia standardized big guys, that's the trebuchet that Bretonians can use, is now no different, it's just written better. Cathay, it's an interesting one. They added to the Regiments of Renown. So that is a document that was written like how you put Regiments of Renown into Games of War Master. Cathay weren't on it. Cathay are now included on it.
Yeah, but that's down to the fella that does Regiments.
Exactly. So, but it's just
well done him.
Yeah, they're well done him.
Long overdue, actually.
Yeah, overdue. Chaos, no changes for 2025. Yeah, and most of the armies actually haven't had a change, you would say, like as we go forward. We carry on Chaos Dwarves, no changes for 2025. Carry forward. And we come up to
Demons.
So, instability table clarification. This passed 18 to 2. So the rationale, the instability table results 6, and the summoned demon spell can be exploited to place a new stand in irregular formation so that it can enable initiative charges in any direction in case of instability, or go into a flank in case of combats where the unit would normally only fight to the front. To prevent this, the rules have been changed to read as followed. And then that is what the rules are, they're changing.
Right. So the regain stand must be positioned directly in front and behind, in front, and beside another stand from the same unit facing the same direction. I think that's the major change in wording.
Exactly.
And if you can't place a stand in that manner, then you can't add it.
It's like personally, I would never think to even try to play something out of formation. I wouldn't.
Why?
Well, no, because I guess I'm just you would, but I wouldn't think of it
because your initiative move's not affected by being.
I just wouldn't naturally go. I've created a new stand. It goes back in formation. That's what's meant to happen. I just would never think to exploit it. Mm-hmm.
No, me neither.
We clarified it, and the summon demon spell. It's similar. The regain stand is placed directly behind, in front, or beside another stand from the same unit and facing the same direction. It's impossible to position the stand in this manner. The spell cannot be cast and will not work.
At least still count as charging if they're summoned as a spell.
But there we go. That is how we've changed demons.
Okay.
Yeah, we carry on.
Right.
Again, it's just trying to
Dark Elves,
exploit.
no change for 2025. Dogs of War, gained the giant goes well clarification, which we've spoken about, and nothing else. Dwarves, this is interesting. So, Dwarves, hero upgrade 2025, past 17 to 3. Rationale, Dwarves have very few options to generate attacks in combat that can be used to shift enemy out of defended terrain. Also, the Dwarf hero is overshadowed by a Runesmith as a character choice. He's rarely, if ever, taken. So the hero upgrade, we get an Oath Stone. One hero, not the Runesmith, in the army may be upgraded to carry an Oath Stone for plus 15 points. Once became, the hero may use that Oath Stone to inspire one unit he has joined, except Troll Slayers. Both the hero and the unit have joined game plus 1 attack per stand and are immune to terror until the end of the combat phase. I really like this. This is really good. Because we had a situation where you just didn't need to take a Dwarf hero over a Runesmith. There was very few situations where the Runesmith wouldn't be just simply the better choice.
There's no situation.
Well,
what was the situation? No, they got the same.
Oh, same. I couldn't think of anything. So this gives
a third hero. If you need a third hero,
this gives a option to a Dwarf player which wasn't there before. So it's a new thing. And I think it's elegant. And I think, and it's like, so you have your unit of Dwarf Warriors, say, all right, I'm going to do the Oath Stone, and it's plus 1 attack per stand, making them 4 attacks each. They're immune to terror, which is also very, a massive negative against Dwarves because they just don't have a lot of attack output us away from Troll Slayers. I like it. Was this vote a similar thing tried in the past? This one? No. It's like, this is brand new.
But this is there is a little, I need to get a little bit of the confusion out of the way.
Yeah.
Is that the committee members, the kind of committee duties are to go and discuss and to find out. But that doesn't have to be in one place. Because like not everybody goes to the Facebook page, or not everybody's on Discord, not everybody's at the experimental forum. So they go out into the world and they kind of mine for information, mine for ideas.
Yeah.
And there's no kind of like, oh, you've not been through this process, so you can't suggest this proposal. The proposal will get seconded if it's worthy of being seconded.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, a lot of
this proposal came a bit out of left field.
Yeah. You know, so and that's similar for me. Like I'd have things suggested on a one-to-one basis. Yeah, like that discussion. Yeah.
So this, and it got traction because there's been this age-old problem of what to do about the heroes, and people were actually suggesting making the runesmiths worse, just to make the heroes viable. That's just nonsense. Don't ever do that in a game.
Don't make something worse to make something the same that is kept the same, so it's theoretically better. No, you want to push up, not push down.
Well, unless something's really out of kilter. But you don't say the runesmith's broken. No, you just take it because it's the best option.
The best option.
Yeah, but now maybe it isn't always the best option.
No,
the problem basically centers around the fact that RuneSmith is a hero, not a wizard. So he gets the same command range as the hero,
was a wizard,
and also has some as the anti-magic abilities as well. So why would you ever take a hero? And for listeners who didn't tune in last year's episode, we did have some long discussions about how to try and make the dwarf hero better. Nerfing the runesmith by making it into a wizard, as you say, Paul, isn't a good option. Other things that we looked at, if I remember correctly, to have some kind of slayer hero with lots of extra attacks, kind of like your source hero where the command value is terrible and it's just for combat. That might be something we look at in the future. I don't know. But this, I think, is a nice thing. 15 points. We'll see how that pans out. What other magic items do you get? What other single-use magic items?
But it's a one-use only.
It's better to be cheaper than not usable.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it turns out to be too cheap, it can move up in price, maybe.
Exactly.
No, I'm thinking it might. I mean, we'll see what happens in the real world. 10 points might be better, but we look at some of the other magic items.
Although it was talked about much higher points than 15, like double that.
Not for one use, no.
Oh well. So at the end of the day, dwarves are in a difficult position that they've got to spend a lot to get the heroes, the runesmith and the general anyway, and you really had to make this a viable third character choice.
There are, it's not a choice. As in, a lot of dwarf players might not even take a third character, might they?
But if you want, this is the third.
Yeah, it's the third character. Yeah,
so that's good. That's good.
It's good.
That's good.
Okay. Well, let's see how
the process works. There.
We continue. So we come on to Empire. So Skirmisher points reduced in 2025. Pass 15 to 5. So this has been to pass. A vote to pass has got to have 2/3 majority.
40. If everybody votes.
Yeah. So the rationale: Skirmisher stands are a great addition to the army list, but it can be hard to get the most from them. Point cost reduction to encourage their use. Skirmisher reduced by 5 points to 20 points per stand. There we go. So it's quite. That's the change. They are 5 points cheaper.
It's not a massive change.
It's the smallest change it can be.
It still means you're paying about, is it 65 now a unit with a skirmisher?
45 is a halberdier.
So 65.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's 130, 260 points a brigade. It's still a hell of a lot of points for a brigade.
It is, yeah.
That basically just have one extra attack if you're in column.
It does.
And 3 extra wounds.
3 extra wounds.
That's what it does.
Yep.
So then I think this is fair. The skirmishers, it should be more a signature part of the Empire. I mean, it's the old detachment stuff from Warhammer, nicely modeled without making it so complicated as it was in Warhammer.
Yeah.
Now, you guys have done recently a podcast episode about the Empire. I'm just looking at my notes of the builds that you took. So in the list that you talked about on that episode, Paul, you had 4 skirmishers.
Yes.
And Barry, you had none.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, well,
so that saves me.
Barry, is this going to make you take skirmishers now?
Lipstick on a pig doesn't change the pig, sir.
Okay, fair enough. And then secondly, Paul, the question for you, what are you doing with the extra 20 points that you've now got in your Empire build?
It's not enough to take a unit or something, but it would be take you nice.
Get yourself a dispel scroll.
Get myself a dispel scroll or a magic item. I got whatever magic item I could then.
Yeah, so you've now basically got you said you didn't actually specify magic items. You had 40 points left over, so you've now got 60 points left over.
Oh, then you could.
Is that enough for another unit?
Opens up to taking up another unit, doesn't it?
Bring a magic and a dispel scroll and a sword.
It just takes up. So that gives you more flex in that army, that build.
So just to talk about the passing, if we had 21, which is our full committee. We didn't have 21 this time. We had 20. You means you need 14 votes if everybody votes. And most of the time, everybody voted.
Yes.
So Yeah. So this one only just got
Only
through.
just.
You don't need a lot. You
No,
only
no, no.
need-
It's a,
so-
and it's like the barrier to pass is high, I think.
So if it needs to be hard. So yeah, I think if we had 20 voters this time, 7 against was enough to type off.
Seven would
So
stop.
it'd be 13-7, and that's not.
Yeah.
So that. So I think we did have some around that kind of
We
level.
did, yeah, we did. So we continue. Goblins. They get the giant goes wild, clarification, and also they get chariot cost reduction 2025. This is past 16-4. Chris, could you just scroll down a little?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So rationale: balance these unit will improve its attractiveness to Orc and Goblin generals, reducing the cost of Wolf Chariot from 80 points to 75 points. There you go.
I mean, it's an interesting.
It's interesting what?
Choosing chariots, because chariots generally are kind of perceived as being relatively undercosted anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
Pounds for like points for punch.
Yeah.
Chariots are generally get top.
But this is
these are lesser chariots.
Yeah, these are save 6+ chariots, and they are so it's not a change to all chariots. We're not saying all chariots are cheaper because we've gone past chaos. We're saying that these got wolf chariots.
So they got 3 attacks base.
They have 3 attacks base.
I think they do.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
They've just got 6 up save.
They got 6 up save. Yeah. So and they it was considered that they weren't being taken much. And
the problem with the goblin list is that when we've done things like make trolls better, which is good,
Yeah.
But our trolls are good.
Yeah.
So it's like trolls are kind of pushing everything else out of the way.
It's
Like,
like,
I'll
well,
just get more trolls.
Yeah. And I don't do anything else. Yeah.
Get some more trolls. So I wouldn't imagine other chariots following suit and getting
not
any
your
kind
5+
of
armor save chariots. I wouldn't have thought because they're already in a very good space. Yeah.
And so this is the kind of Goblins are one of those weird lists that hardly anybody plays, and the people that do play them have to play them in a certain way because they're a defensive army by their nature.
Yeah. So we continue.
Yep.
I don't really have a lot to say about that one.
That's all right. That's all right. We shall see.
No, it does make sense, and it's a tricky one.
High elves, right? Silverhelm maximum limit 2025, past 19-1, so a strong pass. Rationale: general balancing of the high elf list, in which unlimited heavy cavalry with a command 10 general can be seen as overpowered. Can be. Silverhelms are limited to 3 per 1,000 points. Now, I personally, I would have made it 2. But it is 3.
2?
I would have made it 2. I would have made it 2.
I made it in the games 2.
Made it 2. Made it 2.
In the games 2.
I'd have made it 2. I'd have made it 2.
No, if you're going to do it 2 per 1,000,
we've gone from
Dark Elf.
So I've got a list with like 12 Silverhelms. So I'm already like abandoning 6 painted units.
Just play bigger games.
But, all you do is you just shift it. I mean, it's the issue with the command 10 is there's still fucking command 10.
Yeah, still.
So all you just you're going to shift people to take fucking chariots now. Happy fucking days. So chariots instead. Now you're only allowed 1 chariot. You're allowed 1 unit of eagles. You're allowed 2 Silverhelms.
Let's take a different list.
And you got 20 fucking spearmen. Yeah.
We should see. I mean,
2. That's ridiculous.
And the way to I would have limited it further.
You're allowed 3 cold ones in Dark Elves.
You are, yeah. So it has parity to Dark Elves, but I reckon I'll take a high elf list that's got 6 Silverhelms in it, and I'll just say it's still too many.
Reavers and Archers.
Anyway, that is what we've done. So yes, if you were like Barry and you had 12 units of Silverhelms, well, some of them that's for bigger games now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 4,000 point games. Play them every week. So, or 2 lists.
Yeah, 2 lists. There you go. 2 blocks.
What high elves with more? It
was my suggestion. So I mean, this was my proposal. So it's not like I didn't buy into it. But this was I wasn't the one.
I proposed it and I said no.
But the 3 per 1,000 was at the kind of like the cliff face of where I was willing to go to, because that is stingy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty hard to justify everybody else having unlimited cavalry when these guys have only got 3 now.
But I guess you guess it is a game mechanic, isn't it? It's that command 10. It's like pushing.
Well, is that all it is? Is that all we're saying? Is like the only difference between high elves and anything else is command 10, and basically they can't have anything.
But I think
because they've got command 10.
Obviously cold one knights are really good, but they are pointed more points. Silverhelms are your 3/4 plus.
But still, the cold ones are a match in the front, even when they're charged.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
And if you charge the silver,
they have paid more points for it. So like you could say it's the stat line there, because that 3/4 plus cavalry unit is very good. Like and tapping loads of them, and they're as effective when they're in combat, and command 10 gets them into combat in the best way that's possible. Anyway, this is out there. We shall see what happens with high elves.
Well, I'm pretty sure that won't get reversed in the same way that this is like the fourth set of nerfs for high elves.
Yeah, they're still there.
It's an
They've
annual
never had a
tradition.
buff.
Yeah.
The annual nerfing of the high elves.
Oh, the
this is
Dragon Rider
what
got
we've
reduced by
this
1.
year.
Oh, brilliant. So
There you go, that's the buff.
the untakeable unit.
That is a buff.
So in the 25 years, they've had 4 sets of debuffs.
And
no buffs. And one buff.
Anyway, moving on.
Kidsland,
Barry
all
dusts
troops
off his
flexibility
high elves.
2025.
We'll talk about it later. I had an even bigger change for high elves.
Right, yeah. So which
I mean, okay, to be perfectly honest, the toning down the heavy cavalry there, to be perfectly honest, experienced players when they're War Master games are not won by cavalry because all you do is hide in a wood. So Barry, you're 12, I think it was 10 high elves, Silverhounds, I saw you playing a couple of times. Yeah, but, defeated by many a forest.
It wasn't defeated by anybody.
That's forests.
No,
just sit there.
Defeated. The person refused to fight.
It was defeated.
It wasn't. He refused to fight.
Drawn.
Get in the wood. And the game was a draw.
But a great game.
Many forests.
Well done,
So life defeated.
Bravo.
So, Kislev, core troops flexibility 2025, past 19 to 1. Rationale, in line with similar changes to interchangeability of core troops applied to other armies, the same principle is applied to Kislev bowmen, and a special rule for Kislev entry. This is new. So 1 unit of Kislev of bowmen per full 1,000 points can replace a unit of axemen and still counting the axemen's min-max value. Very nice, sensible change.
So currently, the axemen are 2 per 1,000, bowmen are none per 1,000. So basically gives you a little bit of flexibility for people who want to take a bit more shooting, which is probably not that many players, but it's there if you want it.
Exactly. We roll on. We go down the alphabet to Lizardmen. They get the standardized big guys because they have that. Steganor amount clarification 2025, past 19 to 1. Rationale, the number of extra attacks granted by the Steganor was unclear. Amend the Stegadon mount to special rule to read as follows. And it's just simply clarifying that a Stegadon is giving you +3 attacks.
Yep.
It was just a word.
It's a wording thing.
In future, I think these kind of changes won't cost a proposal.
Because
it basically says +3, and we changed it to say +3.
Yeah.
So some different words.
But somebody voted against it. Yeah, and then the clarification regarding slam cast.
Now, hang on a second. So this Stegadon mount thing, is it going to make you, Barry, as a Lizardman player, take the slan on the Stegadon?
I don't agree with the rule. The rules are nonsense, sir. It's an optional rule. And if you want to play the king is dead or whatever, then play it, sir. But
no. I don't mean that actually. Okay, so you got to get the benefit, you got to put your general into the combat.
Why would I do that?
Are paying, let me just bring up the Lizardmen stats. You're paying an awful lot of points. So you've got your Slan, who's 95. You've got the Stegadon, where's he? Whatever number of points that is. That gives you it's 5 attacks. Okay. Whereas for if you get the Source Hero at +2 and the Carnosaur at another +2, which is 110 points, it's only 1 extra attack. You're still, much as it's a nice conversion that Mazda Mundi on his Stegadon, whatever, it's never going to see the tabletop just because it's.
You can do it if you want it.
For what? Only one for a whole shed load more points and only 1 more attack.
But that's the same with everybody. If you've got
but you don't have to take a Carnosaur character, do you?
No, you don't.
I've heard lots of people starting kind of that whole hero hammer kind of frothing away. It's look at all these attacks. And it's well, if you put a hero on a dragon, you get 1 less attack, but you don't lose the fucking game. When he dies, because you put him in combat. Well, otherwise, why are you giving him a dragon and a sword if you're not going to fight with him?
It's true.
And in the game, if you don't play whatever the rule is, there's not even an optional rule. King is dead. That's the end of the game. Congratulations.
So once again, stock up on Carnosaurs because you can probably get 2 Carnosaurs for the same points as one stand on a Stegadon.
And keep my general alive at the back. please. Thank you.
So clarification
So
regarding
the one vote here is
that you?
of course not. But it does show that not everybody is taking things seriously.
That's
which is
no, hang on. That's the person who thought it was actually 5 extra attacks on top of the ones of the slams. So it was 7 attacks, which it clearly wasn't.
I think there are very few apart from this one where there are 100%, and some of them it looks like some people are just being a bit silly. But there's always one in every fucking class. There's always one fucking class clown. So I called them out on a few of them because it's like, who on earth is voting against this? For what purpose?
So clarification regarding slan casting spells 2025. Pass 20-0. Rationale. The wording for situations where the slan casts a spell using a skink shaman as a focus was not completely clear. Amend the slan's...
Nothing is completely clear in English.
Amend the slan's special rules to read as followed. The slan mage can also cast a spell using a skink shaman as the focus if desired. Work out range and line of sight as if the spell was cast by the shaman. This does not affect the shaman's own ability to cast spells that turn.
But I will be honest with you. I've played this game for a little while. Yep. Lizard were my first army.
Yep.
And I never once failed to be able to understand that before the fucking game.
Yeah, but somebody did.
But that's the problem with English. Yeah. There was always somebody willing to challenge the interpretation of the language.
My God, it's almost like we have dictionaries and thesauruses and everything else.
You can see why games manufacturers run themselves into the fucking well. Because now somebody will say, what? It says,
it says here that this thing.
As if it were. But what is it cast by the shit? No, it's cast by the slam, but it says if it were cast.
Anyway, that's what that is. Roll on, please.
Right, yeah, okay, fine.
Just made me laugh with the old.
So Nippon, instability table clarification, past 18-2. This is the same.
The same as for demons. Although, to be fair, actually, I need to delete the summon demon spell from that. So that's going to disappear because they don't get that. I'll need to send. Too much cut and paste.
So,
and then Nippon will also been added
to 2025, the same as Cathay.
Yeah.
So
also with that, that's going to have to. We need to tell people that they'll need to reprint this. So don't go printing too soon because Chris is going to have to take that out.
Okay, there's one thing to take out. So Norse. Giant Goes Wild clarification 2025, the same. Stand on the big guys, the same. Ulthwern points reduced 2025, past 18-2. Rationale, Ulthwerner were a fantastic concept for the Norse army, but their stat line is a bit low when compared to other units at a similar price point. Reduce Ulthwerner points by 5 points to 110 points per unit. There you go.
Yeah. For the longest time, Norse just kept losing shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's costing more this
time.
Huskars are going up again.
Yeah.
And it's like, So I don't mind them trying to get some stuff to try and, because they did lose a lot. Because it used to be just like the Huskar
8 Huskar unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I think they were originally 90 points and they went to 100 and then went to 110.
Big difference.
Massive difference.
Okay, so Ogre Kingdoms, they get the Giant Goes Wild, and that's that. We carry on. We come up to the next in alphabetical is Orcs and Goblins. They get the Giant Wild clarification, and their chariots reduced by 25. It's the same thing from the Goblin army. So their Wolf chariots goes from 80 to 75. Same vote. We carry on.
Will people take them instead of boys?
No, like Skaven. All right, so here we go. My faves. So Screaming Bell change size 2025. Past 15-5. Rationale, improve the way the bell works to make it work better with the way brigades are built and how the army moves. Align the base side with that of the Stegodons, Trebuchets, and Norse Mammoth. Also make the centerpiece model into a better modeling project. We changed the base size of a Screaming Bell to now a base which is 40 frontage and 60 depth. And at the following...
Why is it not 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters?
Shut up. And at the following of the Screaming Bell, the Screamer is also so gargantuan, it uses a 4x6 base, and with the short edge being the front. So this... As someone who plays Skaven, this is a really good change because the bell then fits of how the rest of your army is built and moves around.
Yeah, and it's 3 times bigger than a dragon.
Well, it represents not just the physical bell itself, but all the Skaven around it who are always there worshipping this thing and pushing it around. I really like that. That is a sensible for.
Didn't even make it.
What's the right call it? Yeah, didn't make. Almost didn't make it. But it makes it a change for life or something. I don't know. What's all right? Basically, it's keeping the list like sensible with what is like. Okay.
Well, just remind us, please, what the buffs or debuffs to units in base contact with the bell.
Things it's touching being it shakes out terror out of them, and it
so that now increases the amount of stuff it touches.
which
Yes.
it could do.
No, there's no called.
No.
It's called mathematics. It's now 3 times the size, so it affects more stuff.
And also, it has you measure from the base, don't you? Where it gives out its.
So you don't measure it from a specific point, which you should be.
You should be measuring from. It's within
a specific point.
Which no, but it's like because it's
like it's
something within 30.
The bell, the corner of the bell,
the profile of the bell.
So basically, because the base can be any size, when the base is big, you're supposed to measure from a specific point.
Yeah, but that's for characters. So this is a unit ability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is not it's a unit, it's not a character mount.
It's a separate thing. It could. I've play tested it as a character mount. I liked that.
No, that's bad.
But that that got shouted down.
Yes, too right. I've never killed this fucking thing. I've played it like 6, 7, 8 games, never killed. Never killed it. And imagine if it was a character mount, you could never kill it unless you put it into combat.
Yeah, that's why it has to stay as a unit.
Gracie wording clarification, standardization 2025, past 20-0.
I think we skipped by because the 30 centimeter thing you were looking up is how far it affects command.
It's commands, yeah.
So it's like a debuff for the enemy.
Yeah. And it helps your command and debuffs the enemies. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah,
so it helps your command.
It helps you give
immune to terror.
You can't improve your general, but it helps your other characters.
It's like the things that the lizardmen get, but it doesn't go off if you miss.
Yeah.
The divine guidance is permanent, so it doesn't go off.
I mean, you are paying a lot of points for it. Yeah, it's not a free
the general's not free in you still have to buy the wanker. It doesn't do anything.
So your Gracie wording clarification, that got 20-0. National standardization wording at other armies where the general is also a spellcaster. Amend the Gracie special to read as follows. 7, Gracie. They are powerful sources as well as the army's general. They can cast spells the same way as a warlock and be giving magic item restricted to either a general or a wizard. So that's just clarification wording. And we've also added a new thing, add a Rat Ogre bodyguard mount for 2025, past 17 to 3. Rationale, Skaven heroes act more like just commanders. Skaven have no real combat force multipliers other than the armies and the spells, which is true. So they've got on a very simple Rat Ogre bodyguard, which is a 10.1.
So what is the infantry mount? What kind of a mount is he? It says special mount.
Oh, it should be, yeah, it should be. What have they clarified as?
I've got no idea.
Well, it's an infantry.
Well, if you put it as a monster, then he's got restrictions.
No, it's an infantry.
If you put him as a chariot,
it's not a chariot.
Exactly. So he'd have to be. I'm not sure how many infantry mounts there are, but he may be the first.
He may be the first, yeah, because Skaven don't have anything but infantry. They don't have anything that is.
Well, you have monsters probably.
Well, yeah, but they have Rat Ogres, but you don't.
They'd be infantry.
All this is a big Rat Ogre walking alongside.
It's a special mount.
Yeah, well, okay, so that should be something.
Classification.
A monstrous mount would that be?
If you put him as monstrous mount, that makes him not that usable because he can't go in terrain.
I don't know. You'd still use it.
It's like a chariot mount.
Yeah.
So he just needs to be like a horse. So a horse is a regular mount.
When we talk about votes that didn't happen, that's at the end of this, isn't it?
No, we're not finished yet.
So we keep going this. Yeah.
What is it? What is like a? Do we have a horse mount? I don't think we do. Unicorn. What's a unicorn?
What is a unicorn?
Unicorn.
It's just a mount. I'm not convinced that the mounts act. I mean, it's a good point, but I'm not convinced that the mounts of this nature would affect the character's ability to move around.
They definitely do. If you've got a dragon.
Well, if you're a dragon, you can fly.
But
okay, fair enough. If it's a specific, if you get a chariot, then you can only go into terrain that chariots can enter.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is good. They've had 2 good changes. Well, 3 changes, but they've had one just wordage, but they've had 2 good changes there. Improve, making the army better. You try, like the Skaven players putting your bell on that bigger profile. That's a better way to use it.
Well, yeah, so it's all good upside, isn't it? That was the whole point. It was like, here's 3 good reasons, 3 good things. But where was the bad things? There was no bad things. There was like, where was the extra points or whatever? It was really getting
ain't winning anything. All right, carry on.
There's a Skaven player wins quite a lot in Scandinavia. So I'm sure he's very happy.
Yeah. So we come to 2 Kings, no changes. We carry on. Witch Hunters, no changes. Shouldn't be here anyway. Carry on.
They are.
Wood Elves and no changes. And is that us? Vampire Counts, no changes. No changes for ages. That runs through.
What's change about that?
Well, no, sure. So that is now the current state of the game. That is now, they are all part of the game. That is so. Do we want a section of what we talk about?
So this looks a bit old, Chris.
It's old,
it's meant to be 2025 now, or this, or...
Oh, sorry, that should say 2025. That it. I have updated the names, but I haven't updated the year. So these are the people on the committee.
Oh yeah, because have we got the new people in?
Ross.
Okay, so I just want to say hello
Alan's
to
there.
Ross and Matt,
Yes, hello.
who stepped into the breach.
Welcome to the Madhouse.
We did lose two people. We lost one of our Polish contingent, and we lost the Spanish.
Alessandro, who's not on the list either.
Yeah.
So thanks to the endeavours of those two, and hello to Matt and Ross.
We wish them all the best in their future endeavours. That's how you say it in WWE.
Is it?
Yeah.
So excellent. So that's the current state of the committee.
Yeah. Attention! If you need to get your miniatures safely from point A to point B, then get yourself a KR multi-case. KR multi-cases come in all manner of different shapes and sizes and have gamer-friendly pricing. So do yourself a favour and get yourself a KR multi-case today. Soft foam, hard cases.
Chaos Dwarf Artillery, we voted against going back to. I have to say, I voted against this simply because it doesn't seem to make any sense. Because you've always been able to have two of those things, but actually this is a reduction in Chaos Dwarf Artillery rather than a reversal. Because previously you could have one of the Earthshakers, one of the Death Rockets, and a Bolt Thrower.
Two bolt throwers.
Because they were 2 per 1,000.
No, it was
2 per 1,000.
So basically, it was nerfed a couple of years back now because you could have like absolutely enormous brigades of fucking artillery. And I think that one of the people who suggested this maybe was more new to the committee, so probably hadn't been through the process of us going through. Because we do have change, so new people are joining all the time, and like as with the next one. So yeah, I don't think there was a great deal of energy.
I mean, and also you can tell by the vote as well. It failed 5-15. So it failed up.
It's fairly strong. No,
it's really strong.
Anyway, the demons.
This not past 11 to 9.
Interesting idea here that the demon hounds being far too close in profile and points to the demon cavalry, so give the demon demon player a few more options with essentially more or less throwaway hounds, so you can erode your break point by throwing them away, like other people with cheap hounds get to do.
Yeah.
So we discussed this in previous years, and there was never any great energy for a change.
I voted for it because I'm willing to see if things happen afterwards. Like, I quite because it was templating something that already existed in the game.
But see, it's not that demons are a fringe list with some very specific characteristics.
Yeah.
Like they have apart from the swarm, which I don't take. Everything's 5+ armor, like the flyers, the cavalry, the chariots, this, that, everything infantry. So it was quite hard to find a profile that fit in with that because yes, the overlap of effectively they've got like boar riders, chariots, and like medium cavalry. Effectively, that's what they've got with all 5+ armor, and they do have quite a lot of overlap. But
they've got instability.
And they got into the bit, but the alternative you have to give them something that doesn't really fit in with the list, which is why it stumbles.
Yeah,
because what do you give them? You can't give them Chaos Hounds because they're too good. So these are like the dire wolves or whatever, the vampire ones, which are a little bit shittier, but still. I mean, but do they really fit in? Are they really demon-y?
I mean, well, that's the point of demons, isn't it? Demons can be anything and everything, can't
but they tend to have 5 armor.
But it's like that's what they can be. Yeah.
To try and mimic that resilience they had in fantasy, I guess.
But it's also like the limitations of like what a demon in terms of like these are lesser demons and these are greater demons. I mean, like they're things of magic. They can be. Why not have medium demons? You can have like as in we've grown up with demons being bloodletters, and then the next level is a bloodthirster. But it's like they are creatures of magic. They could be. There's no limit on their imagination of them. Yeah.
So yeah, if this would be an interesting one if people can try and not invent a new profile if possible, to try and find one that's already in the game because that's much easier to work with. To try and find a way to move demons forward, because I think in the end there was maybe discussions around 3 or 4 different profiles and none of them stuck.
Yeah.
Those are like
and by extension, actually, the Nippon Hounds. Honestly, that profile, I don't think it fits with the intention of the what was in the Nippon list either. So if we can settle on something, because I think that some of the Nippon Hounds originally were templated on the Demon Hound 5+ armor here profile, and they were a bit too expensive. But going to make them sort of unstable dire wolves, I think went a bit too far. So perhaps with a bit of play testing, we can work out something that works in both armies, but that may take some time.
So the interesting thing was that when the Nippon list was being made, I pointed out the fact that they had the same choices in effect with demons with the hounds, and they basically had the overlap of the hounds and the cavalry.
Mm.
And yet we allowed Nippon to have the hounds and we didn't for demons.
Yeah.
And then there is an argument again with the 5+ save for demons to be special. And at the end of the day, the list isn't broken. It does feel a bit samey when you have like 2 hounds, 2 chariots, 2 dogs, or 2 cavalry, or whatever it is. They feel a bit like overlappy. But there's nothing in the list that's not usable.
No.
Which is good.
Well, you see, you don't use swarms.
I don't use swarm, but that's because that's a choice.
Yeah.
Because they give away break still, and they're not very good at fighting. And if I'm going to hit, if there's a cannonball coming to my head, I'll just get over there quickly.
Fair enough then. Yep.
But So I don't know if we'll find a way forward past demons, because it's not the first time we've discussed it.
Yeah, exactly. So
anyway, the interesting changes.
Didn't make it. So High Elves Tears of Isha failed 13-7. So if one vote had been different, it would have passed.
Well, if we had a full committee.
Just saying, if
we had a full committee.
Yeah.
Which we didn't.
A High Elf army will not throw away the lives of its soldiers directly. So the High Elf army calculates its withdrawal point as being 1 lower than normal. As part of the proposed High Elf General will now cost 155 as a reflection of that. So I voted for this. I think this elegantly gives High Elves a negative where it reflects their command 10, because the other armies, I think it put them more in line with the other armies, and it was very close to passing. If it had been 14-6, it would have passed. So I could see this coming back around again as a vote to the committee.
Yeah.
But
the controversial thing here was, for me I have a High Elf army, but I don't play it. But for me, actually, I think this is it. It fits with the fluff.
Yeah.
I think perhaps the reduction in the simultaneous reduction in the general's points cost, maybe that should have been a separate vote. I don't know. But I do think this will come back in some shape or form.
Yes. I mean,
and I think it's actually a good balance on the command 10 of the High Elf army, and that means we can leave this sort of High Elves are overpowered to have their command 10. We can leave it alone, because that's enough of withdrawing a breakpoint and 1 less. That is a big enough buff or debuff rather for the whole army.
Yeah, I mean, that vote 30 by our rules, that was as close as it gets to as a vote, and so by its nature, something that close, you could come back around.
Yeah, but in order to kind of have a little bit of clarity, because this was one of my proposals.
Yep.
A major proposal, obviously. This wasn't the way the proposal started, and there was a lot of horse trading involved to get it to this stage. So the fact it still failed, despite of a lot of horse trading, in order to kind of get people's votes, we had to bring in the reduction.
Yeah.
Because without the reduction, it wouldn't have failed 13-7.
Yeah.
It would have been more like 7-13.
Yeah.
So lots of people were saying that just the breakpoint reduction on itself was too punitive for High Elves, and it wouldn't stand. So even with this kind of lubrication of the wheels of progress, it wasn't enough.
But I could see us, putting exactly that vote again forward next year, and it might pass.
Yeah,
only because we got
for me, one of the things that we did discuss that I did find interesting was that this rule would not apply when you were playing Dark Elves. To counter that up, the Dark Elves, the blunder rule didn't apply when you were playing High Elves. So it would have been too complicated to put two votes. But I thought actually that, Dark Elves versus High Elves, they just go for each other. I thought that would be absolutely perfect. But again, too many votes and too many ifs and buts, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we were then with it was like getting like maths code. It was like if and.
Yeah, I know. I can understand why we couldn't vote it. Which is a shame, because I think it's very fluffy.
I'm sure that was part of what I suggested at one point. Was that,
yeah, you did.
We had to try and pull it back in order to try and get it through when we couldn't get it. And if you had more layers to it, more people kind of say no.
Yes, no, I'm not disputing. I'm just saying it's a nice fluffy mechanic that we could have had fun with.
It was close.
I can see.
I've said this a million times. That will that mean that you can now never debuff High Elves again? I'm not sure, because in my heart of hearts,
I think it's the most elegant
you might
debuff.
say
I think it's an elegant thing that we can actually, and as you yourself have said a couple of occasions, Barry, if we manage to find something to balance the Command 10 across the whole army, then we can start giving them some of their toys back.
Yeah.
But they're going to get the toys back because they still got Command 10. And that's the way it is. So you need to find a way for them not to always have Command 10, whatever that is. But if you did that, and I'll go out on a limb now and say this, because just to annoy the Dark Elf players, is that if you find a way to balance Command 10 for High Elves, like whatever is the Hannibal rule, so if you fucking roll 11 or 12, it's gone.
Yeah.
Or whatever that rule is, whatever that thing you do, then you have to remove the access to the scepter for the Dark Elves.
Yeah.
That's just absolute bullshit.
Yeah. I mean,
30 points covers like the negative and gives me a buff.
So
hang on, have we not voted on that already?
No,
It won't happen.
No, that's it. Is that a TO thing?
You cannot have a magic item that takes away your negative
It's your army
and gives you a buff.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's fine. That is totally fine.
I mean, lots of people do it in tournament now, and then people say, "I can't bring Dark Elves." Well,
don't. It's like they've got to have a negative, haven't they? You can't just fix it with one magic item. No, well, that's not the point, is it?
No,
that's just basically
for the listeners who are doing their calculations. The wording of the Constitution that we go through, it's a 2/3 majority, so you have to get more than 66% of the votes cast. So this actually was 65% of the votes cast in favor, so it failed by the narrowest possible margin.
I think it is 2/3 majority, Chris. So I think 14-7 still enough.
Yeah,
because that's 2/3.
No, I'm trying to think of the mechanics of it, but just in case somebody's sitting with a calculator and going, no, that's enough to get it passed. No, it actually wasn't by about a 1% margin of the people present and voting, which was 20 people, not 21 in the full committee. So had we had an extra person on the committee who wasn't voting, let's say somebody had abstained, the outcome would have been probably slightly different. But anyway, we're done. Right, and then the other.
So Skaven. So this was a proposal to create a weapon team, like a skirmishing unit for Skaven. And I'd been playtesting with it, and I thought it gave Skaven an interesting option in their army list. I didn't think it certainly didn't make them broken in terms of like making them too good, but it failed 10-10, so it was off the mark of the committee, for quite a way. So
it's got voted on.
Yeah, it got voted. It got voted on. But I mean, ultimately, the nice models that make weapon teams, you could use them as clan rats or just extra clan rats.
You know, use them as Giselles.
Oh, anything. You could do anything with them. It was like, but I thought that it gave.
Don't worry about making
No. But it gave Skaven an interesting option into their all infantry army.
I think this is a nice idea. It fits a lot with the way the army plays, and I think with a little bit more play testing, with a little bit more sort of insight perhaps into how the Empire armies play, and many more people we see taking skirmishes over the next period of time, this may well come back.
Was that I'm reading like this is 3 attacks, unraged, from one stand, Nothing else in the game gets 3 attacks apart from a dragon. Apart from a dragon. Apart from a dragon.
There isn't anything that it templated against.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
So apart from a dragon, it's not like it's giving you 1 ranged attack.
No.
It's giving you 3.
Yeah.
And it's 30 points. So that is a lot of fucking.
Yeah, you're right. That
is a lot of.
That's a lot of shooting from one stand in an army, which
I mean, even fucking Wave Watchers only shot twice back in the day.
Yeah, you're right, because I can understand why people would pick the route.
And it's got 3 hits. It's not like 1 hit.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's because it couldn't be templated on something that was already there. Like it's not like it's not like it's the same as Empire Skirmish.
Obviously, if you said like you've got a brigade, like the skirmishers. Say they were skirmishers, and you've got your brigade, and they're all in column, and the front has a ranged attack. Well, that would be acceptable. 1 ranged attack, because that's what a crossbowman would have.
Yeah,
that's what the skirmish stand would bring. But it didn't bring 1. It brought 3. Yeah. So if you had 4 of these, that'd be 12 fucking ranged attacks.
But so they are the proposal would be range 15, so they're a defensive weapon. Like
12 ranged attacks.
That's
a lot of standard.
It made it interesting. Like
it's a fucking set of bolt throwers, mate.
But never mind.
No, 3 attacks is probably a bit too much.
Too much.
It was too much.
But the points for it, probably someone with 3 attacks, it's. Three shooting attacks at 30 points again. That's a bit.
I had several discussions with Paul in the run up to this, and I said this one's just dreamland. Nobody's done the math.
But you are allowed to dream. Yeah.
I know, sir, but
Yeah,
then,
like, you know,
if somebody
Yeah.
came with a sensible pricing or a sensible number to
no,
attack,
it needs a lot more.
Yeah, but if you
Iteration.
compare this to, inevitably skirmishers are going to be the point of comparison for this. Skirmishers, it's 3 attacks, 3 wounds, and armor save either 0 or 6, depending on what you attach them to. Skirmishers don't suddenly get to shoot because you attach them to an unit of crossbowmen.
Yep.
So, whether that points is appropriate, tone down the number of
Yeah,
attacks.
it would need a lot.
It needs a bit more work.
Games, more thought, more like does it. It's like I wasn't like the important changes for Skaven was the screaming bell. That was the important change that needed to happen. So I thought playing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you template it, but maybe it just increases. It gives like a buff to the unit it joins.
Yeah.
And gives it. But
There's
the
lots
problem
of-
is too many. Anyway,
Yeah.
so move along.
We'll carry on.
We discussed that one before.
There's way too much grey area.
I think that's it. That's all.
I think that's
One
right.
I'll stop that
Yeah.
screen
Mhm.
share.
Best episode of the one of the year that we record, I think personally, because it is. This isn't us spitballing stuff. This is this is the result of a process. Yeah.
Okay, right, we'll try and tidy it up now.
Mhm.
Okay, so that was episode 199 with Paul and Chris and Barry.
Thank you
and
very
we were
much.
discussing
Thank you very much.
changes and what you're looking at. Did you say what you were looking at changing playtesting this? I don't maybe you did.
Bit of end, based on what we've just been talking about as well. Look at the Hounds profile again for the Nippon army and the Demon army, maybe, but not terribly seriously. But that's another question actually. What have you got on your painting tables at the moment?
But
Did you finish your undead army, Barry, with all that?
did he hell?
Well, maybe Ian's event.
Even you couldn't do a spray undercoat and a green wash over it.
And there was a dry brush involved as well.
Yeah.
So if Ian's
Poor
event,
thing.
Right. Fair enough.
Ian's event.
Me, it's still high elves for in Warmaster, but after playing the Warmaster melee, I've been given back my old high elf army that I had commission painted. So now it's kind of like it took the need to get it finished away.
Simon did that one.
No, but no, that was one I got when we started.
Simon Brown.
No, I got it painted in Poland or somewhere.
Oh
No, like ages away. So that's now been got back to me. So that took the need to finish my own high elves because I've got loads of painted high elves. Yeah. Expect a high elf game on the podcast.
Excellent.
On the
That sounds good.
Mm.
Well, I'm working my way through a sort of frozen wastelands army with everything on ice flow. So I've got an indescribably large number of small penguins. So it'll be a proxy for
Halflings, go on.
no.
Nobblers. Got a kobold.
So and also I've got all these sort of hairy, snowy creatures to use up. So basically between
Goblins.
that and some cavalry riding on bears. So it'll be Kislev, Albion, Norse, maybe ogres if I can be bothered painting another ogre army. But yeah, some fun with all of that. Hopefully have it ready for January's event in November.
Yep.
Could be fun.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The kilt.
That's going to be a good one.
You got
Kill
killed.
with tartan. Yes,
You got
I don't know if it's, I've tartan trousers.
So
that I
Chris,
have
are
to
you
do.
team Janners or team Winter?
I don't know. I'm team arriving late in the morning, so I may be the surprise of turning up for doing some
So
off the
they
chart
have
stuff in
kilt?
the afternoon. I won't be playing in either of the teams because I can't get there for 9 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Fair enough.
They've got to be at a thing in Manchester the night before.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
You're supposed to wear a kilt. You don't have a kilt.
No, couldn't wear a kilt. I'm not Scottish at all.
I've got two Irish kilts. I've got two Irish grandparents.
Close enough.
Are they kilts Irish? I would have thought.
Sometimes, yeah. Depends how far north you go.
But my team's going to have badges, so I'll get you a badge, Chris.
Okay, thank you. I feel very honoured. Thank you, Paul.
Okay then. Right, we'll wrap it up.
Right, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure as
Thanks, Bill.
always. Thank you, guys.
Okay, take
Bye
care.
bye, everybody.
Two of you together, that's fine. But what if one of you is the monster?
Monster? They're British.
Two of you together, that's fine. But what if one of you is the monster?
Monster? They're British.